Hello, welcome to How to Level Up Fast. So I'm going to be going through, I don't know exactly how many of my different decks I'm going to go through, a few of them. I might feature some of these in previous videos, but I'm just going to look at some of the decks I like to use at the moment. Yeah, so just going to be several decks. So Druid, of course, classic deck this, with the Fel Reaver. You can get this out on, well, it's actually possible to get it out on turn 1, which is very amusing if you get double innovate. Otherwise, with a single innovate, you can get it out on turn 2 with the coin. It really does win a lot of games just doing that, just because there's nothing else you can do. None of the giants or anything like as good as that. But yeah, and you can potentially even silence it as well. But most of the time, if you just go face with that. Other than that, there's some fairly good plays with Knife Juggler, Living Roots, to try to get the equilibrium in board, perhaps to get a swipe in there as well. And yeah, and Savage Combat can be very useful. The 5/4 for 4 mana is actually often very useful. So yeah, and obviously classics like Darnassus Aspirant and the classic finisher as well. There's Druid. Let's look at. Yeah, got a new Warrior in here. So another pretty cool deck based on Taunt. Does need some of the bigger cards. I happened to get this card very early on. This is a sick card. I often use this card in Arena actually. It's such a strong card, especially if you do it. Yeah, there's all sorts of things you can do with this. Really powerful card that. But yeah, obviously it's based on taunting up your, Annoytrons and stuff like that, and you've got Bolster as well to power that up. Black Knight to destroy taunt. Obsidian Destroyer. It's funnily enough, those 1/1 taunts, because it often becomes a point of rather than simply what the attacks and health stats are, it becomes a question of how many different attack inputs are there, sort of thing. How many different creatures can attack, or how many different, obviously there's spells, it's not quite the same, but how many different ways to attack. And if you've got that 1/1 taunt, could be very useful. Similar, it's a bit like Hogger actually, isn't it? Destroy. So another pretty cool card. That Fierce Monkey is often very useful in the aggro warrior decks as well. With the like a Fairy Dragon, and then the charging 2/3 with Quas Dragon. But yeah, pretty cool deck and classic leaves. Got Shaman. Let's see what's going on the Shaman deck. Again, pretty straightforward deck with pretty decent amount of power. In general, with this, it's not a good idea to have Crackle or what else do you not want? You don't want Crackle, Lightning Bolt you don't want, Ancestral Knowledge you don't want. I'm talking about opening hand here. Elemental Destruction you don't want, Lava Burst you don't want, Doomhammer you don't want. But yeah, things you will want though will be things like, for instance, obviously this is pretty cool, Totem Golem rather, most powerful 2-drop in the game, I believe. I would think so, looking at those stats. Yeah. So yeah, pretty great card, of course. And yeah, so generally what you want to do is just at the end, just have a huge play with a lava shot after you've overlaid several turns before. And obviously, a double rock biter on Doomhammer. 16 damage straight away, so some real power in this deck, and obviously, yeah, I suppose I used to not prefer this sort of Shaman deck. I used to like the ones which were sort of like more Savage War style with the Bloodlust. But yeah, still very good deck. What other decks are we looking at? Yeah, I recently changed my Rogue deck around a bit. I took out a Tomb Pillager and put in the Nexus Champion Sarad. Can be pretty good for the nice finishes there. But yeah, with Rogue, you know, it's depending how you want to play it. If you think your opponent's going really slow, sometimes I get Reno Warlocks and and you sometimes just get really seriously into them early on. If you feel like the game's going to be horribly slow, you can't just. Thing is, right, with Rogue, normally you take loads of damage and then you just do a huge wave of damage at the end, but it doesn't always work like that. I've played Rogue a lot. Rogue is probably, you know, I've said it before, Rogue and Druid and Mage I really like. I like a lot of decks really, I guess, but Shaman I quite like at the moment as well. I kind of like a lot of the different classes nowadays. I haven't really got any, but yeah, obviously you can get the Gadget Sand. Basically, you never really want to have prep is always for late game, like always. There's no point. One thing I would say is there's barely any point unless you play like some sort of like mech mage or you've got someone who's got incredibly strong opening hand. You're probably not gonna. I mean, this is like you really don't want to be playing this early on a prep. You can sometimes get away with it. Tomb Pillager. I mean, I'm not sure about Nexus Champion Sarah, but I do. If you haven't got that many cards, you often. You know, it's pretty good to have it. I just really like this card. It's like an unstable portal with the 4/5, and I guess a bit more mana there. But yeah, so I'm trying to swap this out for Tomb Pillager. I find them both pretty good. But yeah, obviously, there does come a point in most Rogue games where if you really want that Malagos for 8 though, because then you can obviously get your 9 damage. You know, you can basically get 18 damage, couldn't you? Really, if you had a prep as well with that. And of course, it's a snowball effect. But yeah, the heal bot. You really need to be using the heal bot. If you're not using heal bot, it's probably because you're not taking enough damage to the face. So yeah, don't think with Rogue you will take damage to the face, but that's the way it's supposed to be played. And yeah, and there's certain things like sometimes if it's really going too slow at the beginning, you do want to sometimes shiv or sometimes Found Knives. Especially if you know that all the minions are going to be big minions. Found Knives not going to make much difference apart from if you're playing like a warrior. I mean, what are you going to do with it? Put a Grim Patron. I mean, I guess you could Drake Thalnos it, but you don't. It's a low chance on that. So yeah, another cool deck there. What other decks have I got? It's a Mage. Pretty nice sort of tempo deck. You get some incredible plays from just comboing stuff. I mean, if you look at these top 4 cards here, these top 5 cards, they're all going to be 0 when you've got a Sorcerer's Apprentice. So yeah, generally you want to keep everything. Flame Waker is like 50-50 whether you keep. You've got the coin, you might want to keep it. But yeah, great card. Another one with Nexus Champion Sarah, because I do like the card. And it works pretty well. But yeah, you get some. Yeah, I mean, really, if you can, when it's low, when it's small minions, you want to be getting the. You want to be defending the Flame Waker as much as you can, really. The longer the Flame Waker lives, the better. If you are early game, turn 1, you might want to go straight into Unstable Portal. Sometimes it's actually quite good, even if you've got a combo. Another really good combo is a turn 2 with Coin, Sorcerer's Apprentice, and Frostbolt. Will do really well. If you've got some of these early cards as well, you can get some big plays out of it. But yeah, so don't be, sometimes it's best just to right at the beginning to let them build up their board slightly so that you can change the tempo. And yeah, an effigy. I mean, if you think about it, effigy is most. It's very unlikely you're going to get. Your Ragnar. I mean, the thing is, you can. If you're really in control of the game, you can get a decent one with like a higher cost mini. Effigy, ideal effigy, I would say, is Ethereal Conjurer or Partly Shredder. That is the sort of thing you're going to want the effigy on, but it won't always happen like that. And if it is a small minion early game scenario, like against Warlock that's putting out a lot of little minions, not such a bad idea to have. And you do need to try to get them in a position where they're going to want to take You know, for instance, if you've got some high cost minion with low health, it does help. Because, you know, from their perspective, it's actually, you know, they're not doing much to get rid of one of your expensive minions, so you'll often get that effigy. And effigy is not hugely. See, most people are looking for, when they play mage, you're probably looking for duplicate, like on the heal bot with the Doomsday deck, or like yeah, I mean your duplicate or mirror entity. They're not really thinking of effigy, which is cool. And then, but yeah, lots of good cards there. And yeah, sometimes you do want to hold on with the Flame Strike because it's the only real all clear. Probably maybe you can get something from Nexus Champion Sword. So what other decks? I mean, I could almost go through the whole lot really. Let's go through the whole lot. What am I playing with Hunter at the moment? Mid-range, quite a difficult deck to play this, but a pretty good deck actually. Based around Nanaga Sea Witch. Yeah, this is a hard deck to play, but it's a very good deck. Realistically, of course, you're going to want to, if you can get a Sea Witch out if it lives, you can get Extraza out on. Well, you could potentially get an Extraza out on turn 5, can you, with the coin with the Sea Witch, but pretty good. Also pretty good when you do the Sea Witch to. So if you put a Sea Witch out on turn 5, they'll put all their energy into destroying it, and then the High Main comes down, which is pretty good. Wars. It's a pretty powerful card. And if you look at the mana curve, pretty good chance you're going to get a win from the Warhorse. I find it's probably, just at a guess, I'm getting about 75-80% on that. Power Shot, quite an unusual card for a Hunter deck. Pretty strong though, can be comboed with Pyromancer for 3 aerial effect damage, like a multi-shot plus. Another one. Yeah, I mean, think about it. It's like with Pyromancer, it's like more powerful than multi-shot. And I just took it out. Oops. No, I didn't take it out. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Hounds obviously very useful. Don't use Hounds with Pyromancer though. That's not so useful. Yeah, you don't want a Pyromancer then Hounds. You can though, interestingly enough, there are things you could do with Pyromancer, like Pyromancer, Dr. Boom, Hunter's Mark. See, Hunter's Mark is a very interesting card when you play it with Pyromancer, because it kills everything basically. What would be cool if there was like a Hunter's Mark which had multiple, either similar to, so say like Edric. Imagine like a reverse Edric, and then do you know what I mean? And then you do a spell with Pyromancer. Pyromancer is going to be a very strong card, I think, for a long time, because it's just such a. It's going to be, to be honest, yeah, this is going to be a very, very strong card always, I think, just because of that incredible effect. And then you've got, basically, like I say, I mean, I've gone a bit backwards on this, but the early game is really, Bear Trap is the best thing for early game, I would say. But yeah, you've got to just stay alive in the early game. Even the Hounds, because you're probably not going to have so many minions out. You might want to use an early Hounds on it. And just try and get to that game where you can get a farm, Reg, High Main, try and take control that way. Might need a heal bot as well early game. Once you can get into that later game, this the power minions together with the real good stuff, like the control with the freezing trap, power with the kill command, etc. And which deck is? Yes, I've literally gone through all the point I'm playing with this. It's still the classic. I love this deck. It's a very unusual deck again, but I think I actually got to like rank 3 or something with this deck. This deck is like very unusual, but very, very powerful. I think pretty sure I've covered this one before, but yeah, I just love this deck. It's got so much power. That Wrathguard, that 4/3/2. In fact, yeah, what I was saying earlier in the video, I was saying there's nothing more powerful than the 3/4. This is probably the only thing which is more powerful than that Totem Column. I mean, yeah, depending on if you see power as a case of attack. Or, I mean, it's Elite's equal. Yeah, I would say it's better. This can absolutely wreck. I mean, this is like literally 8 damage. You know, nothing. Dark Peddler, of course, very good. You've got a lot of minions out. You can get the 1/1, what's it called again? The Reliquary Seeker, and buff that up. Curse of Reform is great for control. You can just really do some incredible power. Obviously, you don't want Doomguard and Soulfire. Sometimes having an early Soulfire is not so bad because you are drawing a lot of cards from hero power anyway. You don't want Jaraxxus though. Just Jaraxxus, not so good. But yeah, Defender of Argus. When it looks like, that's the thing. It's always that point where like the game is churning, so you just Defender and then boom. You just got enough there, and then yeah, I gotta say it's sweet when you know, like you Soulfire and then they can get the and then do, yeah, it's always sweet to do Soulfire and you do 50-50 on the Fist, right? So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I've gone through this deck before, I think. Let's just go through every other deck because I literally play every class. I mean, you kind of have to. Paladin, pretty standard. You know, with the eggs, zombie chow. Only one secret. I guess it's not that standard, is it? But again, it's a deck that I like. I've got the one Divine Favor. Tyrion, Sylvanas, obviously very useful. Seal of Champions, not used that often. Seal of Champions, great card though. It changes the 2/2 into yeah, a 5/2 with Taunt, which and most of the and a lot of the time you are dealing with minions for 5 health. So that can really change the course of the game. And yeah, just the classics: Blessing of Kings, Keeper of Alderman, not really a classic, but a new, great for those 4/12s. And yeah, pretty cool deck. And finally, the Priest. Again, pretty control-based Priest. Entomb, great combo. Shrinkmeister with the Cabal Shadow Priest gets those 4. Gets a nice piloted shredder. Literally win the game. Won it. Museum Creator, it's a classic card. Not classic because it's new again, but yeah. Shadow Man can change the game. Death Lord if yeah, I mean Death Lord controls games early on. And yeah, that's going to do it for now. So yeah, that's literally every deck I'm playing at the moment. So yeah, thanks for watching.